Welcome back, guys, to Voicey here and another r/entitled parents. I'm your host, Captain Zach, for the weekend show. Entitled parents should never be allowed to watch TV. It makes them believe they are experts in everything. Just watch what this crazy mom believes she's an expert in just because she watched Breaking Bad. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell to never miss an episode. Alright, this story was called Entitled Mother Refuses to Take a Number and Hero Mom Isn't Having It. My God, I saw one in real life. And not only did I see one, I almost got my head bitten off in the process. I've been working as a face painter / children's party host since I was in high school. Now, if there's one thing I've learned, it's that the kids are rarely the problem. 9 times out of 10, it's the parents who insist on making my life and the lives of everyone else waiting to get their face painted difficult. So, it's Sunday and I'm working at the local pub. They've got a family day every Sunday and it's a sweet setup. Usually, it's a pretty quiet gig, but on this particular day, there are 3 different birthday lunches booked. And I've subsequently found myself with a line almost 30 kids long. So, I pull out the good old numbering system. Each kid gets a number so that A, they don't have to stand in line for half an hour, and B, so I don't mess up the order. And for about an hour, it works. And then, I've just beckoned over this sweet older girl, who we'll call Sweet Girl, who's been patiently waiting for over 30 minutes when the screaming begins. And I mean screaming. There's a little girl, we'll call her Banshee, just staring at me and bellowing, while myself and Sweet Girl's mother, we'll call her Hero Mom, who's been helping me keep the kids in check, are trying to figure out what the heck is going on. And over stumps Banshee's mother, our entitled mom of the evening, and it soon becomes pretty clear where Banshee got her pipes from. This woman points her finger directly into Sweet Girl's face and shouts, "You stole my daughter's spot!" That poor kid looks mortified, so I try to defuse the situation. Excuse me, but Sweet Girl was next in line. She has a number and has been waiting for a while now. Well, our entitled mom doesn't like this at all. "My daughter has been waiting since 1 o'clock. It's her turn!" Now, I immediately smell some baloney, and I'm not just talking about her breath, because it was around 1 that I realized numbers were going to be needed to avoid chaos, and Banshee was not in the line when I was handing them out. A fact corroborated by the distinct lack of a number on her hand. I try to point this out to our entitled mom. I'm sorry, but she couldn't have been. Otherwise, she would have a number. And this is where poo hits the fan. "Number? Are you that incompetent that you need to use numbers? Maybe if you did your job properly, there wouldn't be kids bloody everywhere. And you wouldn't need numbers." Now, look, I've been snapped at plenty of times by disgruntled parents, but entitled mom's insinuation that it's my job to babysit her child really piques me off. I move to inform her of my feelings, but Hero Mom beats me to it. "Hey, do you realize that she's not a babysitter? Your daughter doesn't have a number. She's clearly pushed in. Op is just painting the kids for free. The least you can do is keep an eye on your own." In this moment, I'm both grateful and terrified that Hero Mom is about to be swallowed whole. I have never seen someone so incensed about something as mundane as face painting. This woman's face turns tomato red, and she proceeds to let forth a barrage of verbal destruction upon Hero Mom, who, to her considerable credit, doesn't flinch, but rather stands there looking just as bewildered as I am. Entitled Mom isn't slowing down. Banshee is still screaming, and the other kids are beginning to get really uneasy. Some of the little ones started to look legitimately scared. Sweet Girl looks like she's about to cry, and I've momentarily forgotten how to speak. Because, well, the whole situation is so unpleasant and yet so very ridiculous. And then, Hero Mom has had it. I've only known her for an hour, but already I figured out that she's one classy lady. In the greatest takedown I've seen since I don't even know when, she looks the raging bull dead in the eyes and points out, "You're kind of rude, you know that?" It's like someone has pulled a plug. Entitled Mom stops in her tracks. The steam stops pouring from her ears, and she just stares at Hero Mom, dumbfounded. It's a good 10 seconds before she manages to come up with a response. "No, you're rude." And with that, she turns, yank Banshee's arm so hard the kid almost hits the ground, and drags her out of the pub. She's gone, And I'm just left staring at Hero Mom in utter disbelief. So, normal Sunday then? So, for everyone who bothered to read this far, I know it's not the craziest story ever, but it really got to me. How entitled do you have to be in order to justify making someone else's child cry just so you can cover up your own mistake? Like, this woman was in her 40s and she decided that the logical course of action, rather than using the situation to teach her daughter a lesson about patience and taking turns, would be to verbally abuse an innocent child, a bystander, and a fairy who was offering to paint her kid's face for free. I just can't fathom it. As children's entertainers, we love doing what we do, but we're not babysitters. If you aren't willing to take responsibility for your own kid, then that's on you. Props to Hero Mom though. What an absolute legend. Okay, Voicey veterans. Honestly, I would be terrified in that situation. Like, I've been yelled at quite a few times as I used to work in the hotel business, and while a lot of the guests are friendly, there's a lot that aren't. So please let us know in the comments below what you would do in this situation because it's mind-blowing. It's face paint, people. Free face paint. Alrighty, Voicey veterans, this story was called Entitled Parent Thinks My Bismuth Crystals Are Meth After Her Kid Asked to See Them. Here's some backstory. I live in Minnesota, and every year right before school starts, the Minnesota State Fair takes place, and it is quite popular. There was a record of 270,426 visitors in 2018. Anyway, there are plenty of shops and stands that sell cool stuff, like toys, artifacts, souvenirs, and food, most of which being on a stick. I was in a specific building with a crap ton of stands for buying stuff. I bought 4 bismuth crystals from a stand, and if you don't know what they look like, look it up on Google. They are majestic. I got 4 for about $30. One was yellow and blue, one was pink and purple, one was just yellow, and one was a milky white color. I was going stand to stand, and at one stand the line was particularly long. So I take out my bismuths and just stare at them. The one I took out first was the milky white one. I was just staring at it for about a minute before I felt a tug on my shirt. I looked to my right and a small kid, probably about 7 or 8, was there. "What's that crystal-y thingy?" "Oh, hey there, it's called a bismuth, and they have a really weird design, but they're usually really colorful and pretty cool." "Cool, where did you buy them?" "The stand down there with all the rocks. They should be right around the middle of the container." As I was pointing, I felt a slap on my hand and watched as my little white bismuth sped towards the ground and shattered into a million pieces. I looked behind the kid, and a short, fat, Karen-cut wearing woman pops up behind the kid. "How dare you teach my son about that?" "What's the issue? It's just a crystal from that stand over there." "Exactly. I don't want him to grow up to be a junkie like you, smoking that crap like a life source." "What the heck are you on? It's a decorative rock." "No, it wasn't. It was obviously meth." "Are you stupid? That's not meth." "Yes, it is. I watch Breaking Bad. I know meth when I see it." Yes. Her excuse for destroying my $8 crystal was because she watched a TV show and assumed it was meth. Are you cracked? Just leave me alone. I'll buy another one. "No, you won't, young man. I will not have you buying that meth in front of my son." "Lady, it's not meth. Walk down to that stand and see for yourself. The third one to the left from here." "No, I would just be a waste of my time. You dang junkies can buy it yourselves." "That's all I really want. For you to just step off." "Stop talking to me and go buy your drugs, you loser." Believe what you want. They're not meth, and even if you think so, I'm buying it. And you are not my mother nor my father. Therefore, you cannot stop me. I flipped her the bird as I walked away to buy another crystal and get the hell out of that place. It amazes me just how ignorant and stupid some people are. All she had to do was walk a whole 20 feet and see for herself that it wasn't meth. But then again, it was a Karen. What do we expect? Okay guys, all I'm thinking about is the fact that that kid is gonna come home one day with oregano trying to make spaghetti for his family, and DEA expert Karen is gonna flip out on him. Let me know in the comments below if anyone has ever flipped out on you because they think you have drugs or something, when it turns out they're just stupid. Okay, this story is called, "You see that thing in your hands? I want it. It's mine. Give it to me." And the cast for our lovely story is Pie Mom, Pie Kid, and Calm Employee. So around Thanksgiving, I decided I wanted to make a pie for my mom and bring it to Thanksgiving dinner. My mom has celiac, so she typically misses out on the pies since she doesn't want to make everybody eat gluten-free crust when they don't have to, even though they aren't really that bad. However, since I'm a procrastinating gardening tool, I waited until Wednesday night to even go to the grocery store to buy what I needed. I managed to snag the last gluten-free pie crust they had, which was great because I really didn't want to have to hand make it. Cue the entitlement. Pie Mom walks up to me and holds out her hand. Now, I'm a bit of a dumb floozy and think she's asking for a high five, so I high five her.
What are you doing? I need the pie crust.
Oh, sorry. It looks like they're out. Maybe you can ask somebody.
I know they're out. That's why I need that one.
Yeah, sorry. I need this too.
I need it for my daughter. She can't have gluten.
I then see a preteen standing behind her, glaring at me like I'm somehow at fault. I didn't like preteens when I was a preteen, and I especially don't like them now. But that's neither here nor there.
I know what celiac is, but my mom needs a pie crust to make me pumpkin pie. That's right. Besides, you clearly don't need to be eating any pies, sweetie.
I bite back a very, very rude reply and just put the crust in my cart and walk away. I thought the ordeal would be over, but of course not. That would be too easy. Pie Mom just storms up to me with an implacable-looking employee in tow.
This is her!
Ma'am, this woman says you took her pie crust from her?
That's right! I was holding it and she just ripped it out of my hands and ran away.
Okay, well, that never happened. I just got to the pie crust first and she wanted it for herself.
That's not true! I saw you do it!
I'm about ready to get into it with this 12-year-old girl, and I say, I did not! Sorry that your mom is too flip-flapping.
See? She's cussing in front of my child!
The employee holds up his hands to shut the mom up. We can figure this out. We have security cameras that show the aisle in question. If what you're saying is true, we can easily prove it. If you would come with me, we'll figure this out. Pie Mom is looking like a deer in headlights at this point.
Well, you see, those things aren't always accurate.
Sorry, what? A security camera isn't always accurate?
I mean, it's not even... It's the principle of the thing. I said she stole it. I should get it back.
Ma'am, as a manager, I have to do my due diligence to figure out what happened. I'll be happy to return the crust to you if it turns out that what you're saying is true. But this woman says that it isn't true. Why would I believe one person over another? Especially when I can use video evidence to find the solution.
What happened to the customer's always right?
She starts to storm away.
I'm never, ever coming back here if this is how you treat your customers. Come on, Pie Kid. Looks like you'll have to wait until next year for your pie.
Both the employee and I wait until the woman is gone. I really didn't take it from her, you know. I know. She's been a pain since she started coming here. There's a warning about her in the break room. Okay, so that story honestly sounded like it could have taken place on a kindergarten playground. Like, you're not supposed to fight over things in the store until the day after Thanksgiving, you know, Black Friday.
Honestly, she should have gone after a calendar instead of the pie crust.
Alright, this story is called Airport Entitled Dad. Here's the cast for our little story. There's me,
Entitled Dad, a super angry man.
Airport Employee 1, Airport Employee 2. There's a nice family with 2 parents and a cute toddler. And there's the nice dad of the nice family. When I was in my early 20s, I decided to fly out and visit a friend in Washington, D.C. When I fly alone, I schedule the earliest flight in the day and give away my seat if we are asked so I can get free tickets. This was the plan for this particular trip since my friend couldn't grab me from the airport until after 6 p.m. I was all the way through security and was walking up to my gate about an hour before we were supposed to start getting on board when I saw Entitled Dad yelling at one of the 2 workers behind the counter. I walked up to the second employee to finish checking in, then sat down in the seats facing the employees and the gate. Meanwhile, Entitled Dad is screaming about how his kid doesn't need their own seat and about how he shouldn't be expected to know that. But when he pointed at his wife and child, the kid was about 4. This was not a toddler that might be okay with sitting on a lap for 3 hours. I decided I'm not giving my seat to this person who was screaming at someone just trying to do their job for his own mistake. So I just sit there for 40 minutes and Entitled Dad will not leave the counter. I felt so bad for the employee and even pointed out security to the second employee because Entitled Dad seemed like he was going to get violent. During a lull in his screaming, I heard a couple with a very young child talking behind me. They were debating which one of them should fly with the kid. So, I turn around and tell Nice Dad that as long as there is a flight later in the day, they can have mine. So, Nice Dad and I walk up to the second worker and the following happens. Hi, I was wondering if there was a second flight to DC today. If so, I would like to give my ticket to Nice Dad and I'll just take the later flight. Airport employee 1 looks like he just hit a jackpot and wanted to laugh about it. Sure thing. Airport employee 2, who is currently getting screamed at again, is trying not to laugh but makes eye contact with me, so I know she heard what I said. After a couple of minutes, I'm confirmed for a later flight. I have a voucher for a free flight and everything seems to be in order. Airport employee 1 says very loudly, "Well, thank you so much. It was very kind of you to give your ticket to that nice gentleman." Entitled Dad finally stopped his tirade to turn and look at me in shock.
What? Why did you give your ticket to that
Racist term.
when I haven't won one since you walked up?
Because he is nice and you're just a racist butthole.
I walked away, but I did see the guy being escorted by security and his wife and kid following, looking mortified while I sat at the bar right beside security. You know, Voicey veterans, it's stories like these that make me really want to see the "gone violent" tag, because people like that don't deserve to be escorted peacefully away. Alright, this story was called "Cheap Entitled Parent Intentionally Damages Rental Car, Gets Sent to Collections." I worked at a major rental car company right when I graduated undergrad. As a rental agent, I helped an incredible amount of entitled parents, but this one stood out more than normal. If you were wondering, the company is associated with Green. A family of 5 walked in, probably around 10:30 p.m., and it was my 12th hour there that night. We worked very long hours. At this time, there aren't too many customers walking in, and only a handful of agents, so naturally, the father walks straight up to me and says,
I need my car now.
Now, usually, this isn't the way customers make their entrance. But with the time and all, I just go along with it and ask for an ID and proceed to process his reservation. This said, I see he reserved a compact car, a Nissan Note-sized car. I asked at the counter if he wanted to pay something like $15 more per day for a full-sized car. He basically cuts me off and says, he isn't
Paying a dime more for this crap.
Obviously, this guy is a dummy head, and I see his tired family behind him. So I just say, okay, and complete the reservation ticket and walk him out to the car. The second he sees the car, he looks up at me and says,
No, this won't work. I can't fit my family.
So I tell him, I can get him into a bigger car for like $15 per day, or even an SUV for a little more, but he stops me and says,
Listen to me. I'm not paying a gosh darn dime for anything more. Just get me something bigger now.
I have dealt with this kind of entitled parent before, so I just say that we couldn't do that for free, so he can either pay more or take what he reserved. He doesn't like this at all and plays the sympathy card. I tell him no, and he huffs and says fine, and that he'll just get this one. He shoves his poor family into this tiny car with about half their luggage in their lap. I have him sign off on all the documents. And now, note, he actually bought the damaged car insurance, CDW is what we call it, and drives off. A week later, he returns and literally all the luggage was strapped with a rope to the top of the car. Now, normally this wouldn't be a problem, but the amount of luggage literally concaved the roof in on itself. I wasn't working returns at the time, but my manager radioed me over because the entitled dad was apparently yelling at my manager and complained that I
cheated me out of a good vacation.
I explained what happened to my manager, with the entitled dad present, and my manager explains to him that this was intentional damage, therefore waiving the insurance he purchased. Because of this, we need to collect his insurance information and file a claim. Entitled dad gets furious and starts screaming bloody murder that we are all
freaking scammers,
and kicks the car, denting it even further. He snags his luggage and starts running with his family to get on the complimentary shuttle to his airport. We watch, unamused, as he boards the shuttle and has to wait for it to depart, but policy states we don't chase anybody. The end result? We charge his card for the cost of the rental and insurance and send him to collections for the damages. He was also placed on the do not rent list. Yep, that exists. I cannot wait until he tries to rent the next time. Something I love about these stories is how the entitled parent never fails to just flip out and storm off every time something does not go their way. It is really entertaining, and it allows me to think that maybe they know they did something wrong and they're just storming off to hide themselves from the embarrassment, but you know, I'm probably too hopeful.
Post your stories, memes, and fan art at r/VoiceyHere. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell to never miss an episode. Alright, Voicey veterans, I'll see you in the next one.